Hey, Jack Ferry.
Hey, Grace Helbig, how are you?
I'm good. Welcome to another episode of Not Your D.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much. Today, we have an exciting, young, sprightly, talented female Daniella Pineda on today's episode.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because I've actually been a fan of hers
Have
for
you?
a long time, actually.
Really? How
Yeah.
did you get into the Daniella Pineda School of Entertainment?
So believe it or not, she actually auditioned for me.
What? Really?
Back in New York and back in 2011, yeah.
Holy crap.
And so I was trying to cast her in this show, and ultimately the EPs overruled me and I didn't get to. But
Okay.
I was like...
But you were Team Daniella.
Yeah, I really was, because I was like, she is funny and beautiful, and she's got this really rad tattoo, and I was like, she's gonna be a huge star. I just knew she was gonna be a huge star, and I was like, I want to get in on this before she's like super famous.
Yeah.
And sure enough, and then
Cut to 7 years later, she's the star
Exactly.
of the new Jurassic World.
I know, and that's the thing. It's like really exciting because I saw her. Then she was doing shows for MTV for a while, and then when we got pitched this, like, hey, would you be interested in having Daniella Pineda on? I was like, wow, what's she been doing? Oh, cool, she's in the new Jurassic World. That's amazing.
Yeah, she's got a lead role in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Yes.
Which is probably out by the time we release this episode of the podcast.
Of course.
And I'm so curious because to me, I'm like, I pursue entertainment. I like to audition, and I don't like to audition. I hate it so deeply and thoroughly. But it's insane. I've been watching her story of like seeing herself on billboards and seeing
I can
all
relate
of the
to that.
press, that it must be this goddamn whirlwind. Also, I just got to know about Jeff Goldblum. I know, Melissa, you got to know about Jeff Goldblum. There's a lot of Jeff Goldblum questions that are going to take over this podcast.
Yeah.
So my apologies in advance, Daniella. I'm very excited.
Yeah, there's three like very
right, and Chris Pratt, I guess.
And also Dallas Bryce Howard. I'm like very curious about all three of those
How
personalities.
do her bangs stay so in place through all of the misadventures they have?
And all of the running around in heels.
Oh gosh, I mean, as a woman that's cut her own bangs twice, and they get messed up when I like stand up. I don't know how she does it. So hopefully we'll get the inside scoop, and also like just working in a film that is so much like CGI.
Oh yeah,
That you
that's
act-
got to be so strange.
It's got to be so silly.
acting off of. Okay, that tennis ball is gonna eat you.
So look scared and cry.
Yeah, but
Well-
I'm excited because I actually just got back from a trip in Hawaii,
Which is basically Jurassic Park. Yeah.
And so I fell in love with it. I'd never been to Hawaii before.
It's beautiful.
It's amazing.
It's Hawaii.
It's Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's everything you think it is.
Yeah.
And I think she just got back from there because they were doing a big press event there where Jeff Goldblum was singing Jurassic Park.
The Jeff Goldblum.
The Jurassic Park themes. Because we just did an episode of Jurassic Park for Popcorn,
Yeah.
Mitchell and I. And one of our favorite things that we found is people on YouTube have taken the theme song from Jurassic Park and added their own lyrics, and their lyrics are so stupid.
I've seen the old memes where people play like the recorder version.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
a classic,
Yeah,
a real
yeah.
classic. If you want to take the piss out of something that sounds so epic, I
Yeah.
mean, I want to know what Steven Spielberg feels about that, or the composer.
Oh, John Williams?
Yeah.
He probably thinks it's hilarious.
He's got to, or he hates it deeply.
I don't know. I think he's probably got a good sense
We'll
of humor
find out.
about it.
Daniella will know. She'll have all the answers.
Well, Daniella did have I noticed today on her Instagram, she had a photo with Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
On her Instagram, and I was like, oh, so jealous. He's
What a
like
nuts-
one of my heroes.
Yeah, she's existing in a very bizarro universe right now that we're going to dive straight into.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And find out all about that. And also, Jack will be able to directly relate to all of his experiences in Hawaii.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about
What was the
that.
closest? What was the activity in Hawaii you did that was the closest to running away from velociraptors?
I guess kayaking with sea
All right.
turtles.
Yeah, that's basically the modern day running away from velociraptors. So
I don't think
you're
it's
really
quite
going
the
to
same
impress her
thing.
with that.
But isn't the premise of the movie that there's like a volcano goes off or something
Yeah,
like that?
which how weird that's
yeah,
happening.
because that's exactly what's going on right now in
Yeah,
Hawaii.
and they're trying to preserve the animals, and then some bad guys, I think, are trying to sell the animals for like foul play the sort of scenario.
Oh, so you like hire like a Velociraptor hitman?
Well, I think they're
I like
trying.
that idea.
It feels like a little bit like there's some weird sex trafficking, like overtones with these dinosaurs that they're trying to sell.
I see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't want to get too deep about that. I want to find out about Bryce Dallas Howard's banks. That's about as deep as I want to get.
Right,
So,
got it.
Let's get into it. Let's start this interview with Daniella Pineda. Not too deep.
Not too deep. With Grace Helbig.
Guess what, Jack Ferry?
What's that, Grace Helbig?
Today's episode of Not Too Deep is sponsored by the Beyond Burger, Beyond Meat. You've heard of such
I've heard of
things?
this. It's the uncompromisingly delicious plant-based burger that is packed with protein and better for you and the planet.
Yeah, the Beyond Burger is not your hippie college roommate's veggie burger, and I can speak from experience.
Yeah, you've tried it.
It's so good. It's literally like a David Blaine magic trick. It looks like real meat when you cook it. It's
Right.
like the most similar to meat that I've ever seen in like a plant-based product before.
Yeah, it's created for people such as yourself. It's created for meat lovers.
Yeah.
In fact, it's the only plant-based burger that is so meaty. It's sold in the meat case at most grocery stores nationwide.
That's bold.
I agree.
Yeah, the Beyond Burger is made from simple ingredients applied in fresh ways. They use protein from peas, potato starch, and coconut oil without gluten, soy, or GMOs.
And their plant-based Beyond Burger comes with less baggage and more benefits, so you can eat what you love and feel better while doing it.
So this summer, add some sizzle to your grill with this revolutionary burger that satisfies even the most ravenous of carnivores.
If you're ready to taste the future of protein made from plants, visit beyondmeat.com/grace and click on the Where to Find button to find the local retailer near you. That's beyondmeat.com/grace.
Not too deep.
I'm sure you guys want to know how I always stay trendy without breaking the bank. Well, guess what? I'm revealing all my secrets. It's shoedazzle.com. It's one secret. It's only one. At Shoedazzle, shopping feels exciting and decadent, but it's always simple and affordable. Whatever style they have you and your feet covered. You can shop as a guest or you can become a VIP. How exclusive. VIPs get 30% off retail prices and access to tons of other exclusive sales and perks. Imagine if your favorite shoe store was offering you a discount on all merchandise for life with absolutely no pressure to buy. How do you say no? That's the value of Shoedazzle's VIP membership. So if you go to shoedazzle.com/grace now and sign up as a VIP, you'll get 50% off your entire order. I know. I can hear the shock in your head. Visit shoedazzle.com/grace to get half off of everything on the site. Do it today. The hottest styles are selling fast. That's shoedazzle.com/grace. Yay! We're here with Daniella Pineda, not Danielle Pineda.
Yeah, not Danielle. Everyone calls
Not-
me Danielle.
Yeah, I mean, is it a pet peeve or are you just kind of over it?
I used to correct people
Yeah.
and now I'm like, whatever.
No, I have a friend named Mamrie. I called her Mamrie for like the first year of our friendship, and she didn't correct me until like another friend in a bar was like, it's Mamrie. And
Oh, boy.
watching her in interviews and people saying Mamrie all the time, I just wonder, is it going to be
think
one of the
mammary
days?
glands.
Exactly. And so that's why your brain automatically pronounces it that way. But she's at the same point too, where she's like, I just stopped correcting people.
Yeah, I mean, it's even people I work with too. And I'm like, man, you know me.
Is it because both of your names end in A, you think? Just like AA?
I would think that would make it easier to
Right.
remember, but for some
Right.
reason it just doesn't.
Well, we'll make sure to say Daniella.
You can
Unless
call
you
me
have a
anything you
nickname
want.
that you prefer.
I was going to say something really, but I don't know, something with the word vagina. It wasn't going to work. I remember when that the name, what was it? Like angry, like crazy Matt. Oh, cunt face. Cunt face was
Oh, yeah.
available on Instagram, and I wrote my manager. I was like, can I change it? She's like, absolutely not. I was like, damn it. I
Well,
just
that's-
had to change it for this movie too. I was the real middle finger.
No, I have in this research that you were the real middle finger and you changed it, and to the point that you were so known as the real middle finger that the person that has that account now, their bio has to say like, I'm not Daniella Pineda.
I know. And I wrote that. I wanted to write that person and be like, "You be good to that name," because I was so bummed I had to change it. But
You had to?
Yeah, I didn't want to, but
I mean, for brand recognition,
that's
I feel
exactly
like
what it
yeah,
is.
when people Google you, then they can find you.
yeah, my Instagram, it was the real middle finger, and the profile picture was the old lady from The Shining.
Ooh,
I was
cute.
I was very happy with that.
Yeah.
yeah, the one coming out
I
of the
can't
bathtub.
imagine why they wanted you to change it.
But now it's not Daniella Pineda.
Yeah, which is totally unoriginal because I'm pretty sure TJ Miller was the first to come up with that. His was like not TJ Miller.
Well, I've had that issue on like Snapchat. Grace Helbig was taken, and then you're like, what do I do? And then I went with real Grace Helbig, which sounds so obnoxiously like pretentious that everyone else is like fake. But this is. I don't know why. I panicked basically.
Well, the good news is Snapchat's dead.
Yeah, the good news is
Here-
it's a dormant account.
yeah, throwaway culture.
Thank you for being here because you just had your premiere last night.
Last night.
I was like asking them, I was going through like a stalker on your Instagram, your new Instagram handle. And I was like, was this last night? This is 12 hours ago, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like right now, my Andre, who's here, my boyfriend, we were like, we've just been going through Getty Images and like finding all these photos. We're just like, oh my god, it's so insane.
And posting all of them.
Yes, every single. I know. I'm like posting like 10 pictures. I don't care. It's so good.
Your dress looked incredible.
Thank you.
Your hair was awesome. What is the feeling, if you have to describe to someone that's never experienced it, the feeling of like 30 adults screaming at you to take your photo?
I don't know how to describe it because
It's nuts.
I feel like the people who are used to that stuff are like, if you're a kid or if you're in your early 20s or, and it happens to you and you're just used to it. Like I am not used to it. I was
Right.
a very regular ass person with a very regular ass life. It's still regular, but like last night was just so incredibly surreal. I'm surprised that people, I know it sounds silly. I'm surprised people know who I am.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like the premiere was last night. The day before that, I think the day before, I arrived from Hawaii and we went to, Chris always wants to do things for the troops. So we had a screening at Pearl Harbor.
Oh, wow.
And a guy came up to me and handed me, he's like, hey, a picture. And Chris was standing right there. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. I'll take it. And he says, no, with you. And then he hands the camera to Chris Pratt. And I was like,
to take the photo.
what?
So he's
I was
like photo credit, Pratt.
And I was like, whoa, okay, cool.
Where were you taking a photo of that photo happening?
Yeah, he's been pretty good. Andre's really good about documenting a lot of crazy
It
moments.
must be, I mean, it seems like you're just kind of at the beginning stage of like this whole press junket, this whole press tour.
I'm like an egg in IKEA that's just being born.
That's just being more. How is it going so far? Because it looks nuts. I mean, the billboards are everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like plastered all over everything. Like,
It's almost like it's a really big movie.
yeah. like,
it's the biggest movie of the year.
yeah, like someone put a couple dollars into it or
Yeah.
something.
I'll say.
They're really marketing it.
I think the marketing, I don't know if this is confirmed or true, but I heard that the marketing for our film is double what Avengers.
What?
Oh, eat shit, Avengers.
Damn.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm we did pretty good, but
We take everything
Kinda.
everyone says on our podcast as strict fact. and that's how it happens.
as it should
Yep.
be on
Yep.
podcasts.
Exactly.
Everything is fact.
Everything that goes up on the internet is basically facts. So if we've learned anything from Twitter, that's how the world works.
That's why I hate chemtrails.
Oh man, dude, I've been down that rabbit hole, conspiracy theory rabbit hole.
Oh boy, let's not open that can of worms.
You're welcome to. What's been the most nuts thing so far in the whole press tour shenanigans of it all? Because you do the movie and then how long was it from wrapping shooting to now it coming out?
What's funny is the waiting period of
Right.
like wrapping the movie, being like elated and having that high of having just shot the film. And then going back to my life and just sitting around waiting. And then like about, I would say 2 weeks before this all happened, or maybe it was about 3 weeks ago, I kind of had like a mini meltdown because no one wanted to talk to me. I had like 2 magazine shoots that like, were supposed to happen and like didn't happen. And it was like we don't know who she is.
Okay.
And like, and the movie hasn't come out yet. No one's seen you. So it's
Right.
like, there's only so much that like my team can do because no one knows who I am.
Sure.
But it was like no one wants to talk to me. Nobody cares. This is
Oh, then having that crisis moment of self of being like, what's my worth? What's my value?
which is so stupid, but it's true. It's like you would think you do a movie like this, it's all gonna come I already have really low expectations, mind
Which
you.
I think is the healthiest way to be in entertainment in general.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, I'm lucky enough I'm shooting a movie when I get back to New York City, this like, you know, small, cool indie with a lot of cool people. But you know, I don't got my next gig.
Yeah.
Still trying to hunt down that job. And I've been auditioning like crazy. And like, you know.
It's nuts. But then also you have this insane press tour for this giant thing. But I imagine that the period in between you wrapping to this now like premiering is like watching someone else have your baby. That you just wait and wait and wait.
Yeah.
And then you hope when it comes out, it's good and healthy and happy.
10 fingers, 10 toes.
And like cute looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I, you know, and there were a couple of times that I got a little panicked because, well, you know, one, it's like people were asking me about the movie, but I still hadn't seen it yet.
Right.
So
So you're like, I hope it's good.
yeah, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It actually, it exceeded my expectations, but something that really panicked me too, kind of when I had this mini meltdown, was I was told that in the movie, there's a reference that my character, there's this really cool scene that I shot with Chris Pratt. It's like me and Chris and all these mercenaries in a car. And I look at Chris, I'm kind of like looking him up and down. I'm like, yeah, good square jaw, muscle structure, tall, strong. You know, I don't date men, but if I did, you'd be it.
Yeah.
And Colin wrote me and he said, hey, I just want to let you know, because of sake for time, like, you know, we cut the movie down to 2 hours. Originally it was like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something.
Whoa.
Yeah. A
It was,
saga.
and it was really big. So they needed to cut a lot. So, you know, there was a lot of babies that were
Yeah.
a lot of babies that were
That
killed,
didn't
which is
live,
an editing
yeah.
reference, not actual babies dying.
Don't worry.
People.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like when an editor like that's like you kill your babies.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So
And
there's-
then now in 2018, it's not such a light term to be able to use in entertainment.
Can't say kill your babies anymore.
But you can say abort your jokes. Yeah. Works really well.
So I guess that didn't make it into the final cut.
it didn't. And at that time, there were a lot of articles about characters in big franchises who it's like, yeah, they allude to the fact that, you know, they're LGBTQ, but they don't
Sure.
come out and say it. And I was really, really, really excited to
Yeah.
have that be a part of the character. And you know, they didn't cut it because they didn't want to. It was written in the script. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be in the movie. It was for time, but I was like sort of having a panic attack of like being the person to speak on behalf of that.
yeah,
I
that's
was getting anxiety
huge.
about that.
Which is kind of nuts. I mean, especially right now, I'm sure, like you said, it's really wonderful to have the opportunity to be able to like represent that kind of community and then now be like a spokesperson for like, why isn't this fully represented? Like
Yeah.
there's a weird harsh line where no one's ever completely happy as an audience member
Right.
with like how things are represented.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It stresses me out. That's why I stopped making so many jokes on Twitter, because everyone is
Yeah.
a little stressed out about things.
Yeah, we're all a little bit walking on eggshells right now.
But I
in
think
the world.
we totally are. But I
Yeah.
think we're going through a transitional period.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a light at the end of this tunnel.
I hope you're right.
Not like a nuclear light,
Yeah,
but like a
hopefully.
light.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So you used to, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you still do, make YouTube videos and were involved in that whole world.
I was very if YouTube was like a timeline, I'm like in the Jurassic era of YouTube.
Oh,
right?
the beginning stages.
The beginning stages.
Yeah.
So
when it was pure and authentic.
yeah, you know, before the beauty of Logan Paul.
Yeah. Oh, what
Who's
a
that?
Mr. America.
What an idiot. I would make these YouTube videos. What year was that? That was probably like maybe 2010.
Yeah.
I think I was making these YouTube videos for fun.
Yeah.
And they were, oddly enough, the video that I guess got me discovered was this video where I play this dumb actress who's being interviewed by Lynn Hirschberg of the New York Times. I watched
Go
the Screen
on.
Actor Test, and like some of them are great, and some of them are like, oof, they're a little painful to watch.
Yeah.
And I made a mock one. So the funny thing is that I got discovered from a video where I'm making fun of an actor. And then my now manager approached me and said, you should be an actor. And I was like, God, no.
So it wasn't even on your radar at that time.
No, not at all. I came to New York to be a producer, to work on horror movies, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, to work in independent film. Never to be an if I was in front of the camera, I could see myself doing something like a Daily Show. Where
Like
I get to
hosting
write.
as yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to school for journalism. I could use my degree and I could still
Sure.
do comedy. So that was, sort of where I thought maybe if I was lucky, it could go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here you are now.
Now I'm in Jurassic World too. That shit's fucking crazy.
But also, I think in terms of like quote actors, actresses, performers, you handle your social media still really genuinely and authentically. You just like throw yourself out there, throw out things that you think are really funny without like curating this like perfectly coiffed, like here's beautiful photos and only beautiful, like
right. Or like I'm so cool I don't even have an Instagram.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
the real cool kids that just
are
don't
so
have one.
unavailable.
Right. Which, it's the one thing that I do worry about is how delicate mystery is.
Oh,
Like,
true. Yeah.
Andre is very like, he's more like be on the private side. Otherwise there's no mystery and there's
Where's
some
the
truth to
balance in
that.
how much you share online of your real life versus like
Yes.
how much you professionally propose to the internet?
Completely. But where I could see it going is one, I'm not good at not being myself.
Which is good, ultimately.
It's good. It's probably going to get me into a lot of hot water, but I've never been, a fucking cool kid or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like those actors. Who
Yeah,
just
yeah,
they're not available.
Yeah.
I've never been that way. So, and I like to goof around and I like to fuck around.
Yeah.
So I think things are funny. But also, I see people like Kevin Hart and The Rock who just post a lot, but they also post funny shit and they have a lot of flexibility and there aren't any like mega female superstars that also have that funny edge.
That also just feel raw online
Yeah.
a little bit. That feel a little bit like they don't have a
Not so
manager
kept.
in the background telling them
Right.
change your Instagram handle.
So basically what I'm saying is I want Under Armour to approach me and give me a contract.
Hey, yeah, because okay,
I'll sell anything you want me to
so
sell.
you're a big UFC fan.
Yes.
How did this happen? Also, I want to find out about training for this because I was deep diving like the stalker that I am into your Instagram and looking at all of your like Brooklyn training videos of like lifting tires like you're in the world strongman competition. Like what? So you were already into that kind of thing, or did you get into that because of like training for roles and that sort of thing?
I think what it was, I've always worked out a lot
Sure.
because it keeps me from going crazy.
I'm with you.
Keeps me from burning down all the buildings.
Hey, yep.
Shout out to, never mind. So I always want to stay in shape, but I also know that if you ever have the opportunity to say, be in one of these Marvel films,
Yeah.
they're not going to give you any time to train. So,
so
you
you
need
have
to
to be
already
ready.
be in shape. You have to be ready for whatever life might throw you.
Right. So that's a good mantra. It's like always be ready for a Marvel film in terms of
Exactly.
fitness.
Pretty much.
So you've been practicing running from dinosaurs
Yeah.
for a while now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
People are like, what is she doing? It's like, no,
I wake
was-
up and say, do I feel like Thor today? And then I go on with my day.
There you go.
There you go.
Accordingly. Yeah, I'm hoping. I just want to be a Hemsworth so bad.
Oh, I want to marry into that family. Well, sorry, I love Andre too, but also Hemsworth.
He seems cool with it.
Yeah. Is Chris Hemsworth's wife, is she a real person?
Are any
She's
of them
like
real?
a Spanish fairy.
They're all like these.
I love Chris.
Like when you.
She's like so perfect. She's just so like, he loves me because I'm happy all the time. Like, who are you? How do you exist?
Yeah, you're like, how do you? Yeah, when you're like, oh yeah, God creates like beautiful creatures that exist that are unattainable, and it's just the Hemsworths and their significant others.
Yeah.
God bless them.
And what's his name? Liam Hemsworth gets major props for being with Miley Cyrus. That just makes
She's
him
had a
so
big
much
turnaround.
cooler.
She's the queen of rebranding.
Yeah, she really is.
And
she
I'm
reinvents herself.
really into that. But so you're into training and you're into UFC. What got you into UFC?
What did get me into UFC? I started watching Ultimate Fighter, and I became so hooked on that show because I think that was the first time I'd sort of been introduced into like fighter mentality. And these, like a lot of these fighters who are trying to get into the UFC, they have nothing. They have had hard fucking
Right.
lives, and all they want to do is fight.
And so it's more the human interest side of like the why. of
Yeah,
it.
I'm really interested in their who they are,
Yeah.
and it is very athletic. And I used to be, I think a while back, I used to be like, oh, that stuff's boxing's so violent. My family's, Mexicans are obsessed with boxing, so I grew up watching boxing a lot. But and I always used to be like, I'm not so into that. But now I realize that it's consensual. All these people are putting themselves in this position. And they work their asses off, and and I think Ronda Rousey was like a big draw for me too.
What do you think? Because I'm obsessed. Well, I got into UFC in I dated a guy that was really into it, and I had the same mentality that I'm like, this is just bar fighting in a cage. This is too violent. It's too gross,
Right.
etc.
Now
And
you're
then when
hooked.
well, sort of, but when I was with him, I was hooked more because he would watch it more regularly.
Yeah.
But because I understood that there's, strategy, that they're not
Yeah.
just drunkenly fighting each other till one of them dies or their friends pull them out of the ring. Like,
Right.
There's
There's
actually
a method to the madness.
Exactly. And there's athleticism and there's, just like there's sport behind it. And now I've recently been super obsessed with WWE because it's like sport and theater combined
Right.
into one. And Ronda Rousey has now made her debut into the WWE, and she was met with mixed emotions from like the majority of people, but she's been amazing. I was like,
How could anyone be anything but happy for her? How could anyone be like, I mean, listen, is she rough around the edges? Yeah.
yeah.
Did I think it was lame that she didn't like shake hands with people during her matches? Yeah.
Sure.
But also, like, she's a fucking badass. Like,
Yeah.
she's not just an actor. She can actually beat the shit out of people.
Exactly.
which
And
is
that's a
fucking awesome.
terrifying thing about her being in WWE now is that one, she has upped her acting game because you need that more than like fighting
Yeah,
in
you do.
WWE.
Yeah.
And so she was kind of soft spoken. Now she rules. But also, I would be fucking scared to go against her knowing that WWE is not quote unquote real fighting. So if she sees red all of a sudden and then really arm bars you and breaks your fucking shoulder,
like,
what
gets
do you
into
do? You can't tap out of that necessarily.
She scares the shit out of me. Her and Cyborg, Chris Cyborg.
I'm
so
not
obsessed.
familiar. I've been so out of it. Yeah.
Dude, you go to YouTube and type in Chris Cyborg. There's a documentary. There's like a short, like 40-minute documentary about her.
Okay.
She's she is the most lethal female fighter in
Really?
the world. And her trainer, he first met her
Is
when she
Cyborg
was
her
like
real
throwing
last
her
name?
husband. No, it just makes her sound
Oh,
scary.
I
as
was
fuck.
like, that's such a cool last name. The only job you can
Cyborg.
have is Ultimate Fighter if your last name's Cyborg.
I know.
I have to watch that. Would you ever go into UFC?
Absolutely not.
Okay, that could have
I know
gone
my
two ways.
place. Yeah, I'm a spectator. I would
You
die.
stay in that lane.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I have to ask about Jeff Goldblum.
Oh my God.
Thank God.
My life has changed.
Yeah,
Tell us everything.
give us the hot gossip.
Okay. Jeff Goldblum.
I like that you're readjusting your microphone.
It's like-
to
We're
give
gonna
us
get
the,
into
to give us the
it.
Jeff Goldblum TED Talk, please.
Okay, so people, I didn't get to meet him while we were shooting. And I remember the hair and makeup women in London who I worked with, they were like, oh my God, like Goldblum came. He's absolutely magnificent. And you're like, okay, they're just saying that because he's Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
And then I've talked to a lot of people who've worked with him, and like we talked to some girls the other day who were like, yeah, we were working on a movie with him, and we were in a church somewhere in like Atlanta, and he started, or Savannah, and he was playing the piano for everyone, and I'm
he
like,
still
what?
plays out here.
Yeah, I saw him.
So he's been
perform.
hounding me to go to his
Yeah.
show.
It's fantastic.
Mamrie
Yes.
went.
It's
yeah.
fantastic.
She went and he like looked at her in the audience and like grabbed her hand and was just like, "You have fantastic hands." And she's like, doesn't have them manicured at all. He's like, they're just real and raw. And she was like, it was the weirdest, most wonderful moment of her whole life.
That is
Yeah.
that's how he makes everybody.
Yeah.
He came up to Justice Smith, who plays Franklin in our movie, and he had Justice has like this little mole on his lip, and he's like, "Oh, it looks like a bedside pillow mint." And he was like, "What? Are you trying to sleep with me? I'll do it."
I feel like he's trying to sleep with everybody.
Yeah,
That's
Justice
like his
and I
thing.
concluded that like if he approaches you, no matter what your orientation is, you're like something happens. You're like put
It's
under a spell. You're like,
hypnotic.
this must happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also I feel like he's just grown into a parody of himself as a character.
He
Like,
is.
There's folklore about him and I feel like I know him. I've never met him.
He's
but
like our generation's Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
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 But you know what I will say is there's not a single he's very flirtatious, and yet there is not a single moment where I ever feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, because his version
It's
of flirting, like that's how he communicates. I feel like,
It
and it's
is.
to everyone, so it doesn't feel like flirting. Feels like
Yeah, it's true.
you understand flirting because the comparison is you watch someone else not flirt, so you
Right.
understand when they're
He
flirting.
also doesn't turn off. Like he's he's on that level. He's in that zone constantly. So when I first met him, we were doing, was it the Today Show? No, it was a Telemundo interview the day before.
Perfect.
And he comes
a perfect
out.
way to first meet him.
Yeah, yeah, right. And he comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, Daniela." And I was like, "Oh my god, my heart is like racing right now." And I was like, I don't think a famous person has ever made me feel that way. Like I imagine if I met
Just by-
Beyonce, but like he came up to me and my heart was like pounding, and the way he moves, he looks like a praying mantis, like an old praying mantis.
Praying mantis in a leather jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, he moves so smooth, like, but also
He's
like
constantly moving
awkward.
his hips. He's
Yeah.
like keeping the joints lubricated, like moving back and forth. He's constantly moving like that. And he, I remember that if you watch our Telemundo interview, most of it is like me sitting next to Goldblum and just watching him. I'm not watching the interviewer. I'm watching Goldblum because he's staring, and he does this thing where like he has his hand. Like, I don't know how you describe the way my hand looks right now, but
just like holding an
like a
invisible
couplet.
churro.
Yes. And he sort of brings it back and forth to his face, and he listens so intently. And
Yeah.
his eyes are like squinting, and like he gives you all of his attention. I was like, holy fuck. Like he's so much more Goldbloomy than I thought he was going to be. It's crazy. I've never met anyone like him before.
Yeah, he seems like a space cadet that's completely dialed in at the same time.
Yes.
That he's like this flighty, completely present person.
That is the best way to describe it.
It's so bizarre, and he's fascinated by just things that catch his attention.
Yes.
Like if a feather
Very
fell
much
in
so.
front of his face while he was giving like a speech at a, whatever college commencement speech or something,
Yeah.
that it would be 40 minutes about this feather now
Yeah.
falling from the ground. He seems unreal.
The scene between him and Laura Dern when he's putting the water on her hand, like in her reaction.
Oh yeah.
Now that I've
So
met him,
smooth.
it's not acting. I think that's who he is. Like that's him.
I mean, now I just want a movie with you and him, like a buddy cop film of the two of you would be
That'd be unreal.
truly a dream.
I posted a picture of me and him the day of our premiere from last night because I'm posting every single picture. Because also,
yeah.
like this whole experience, I'm like, this could be it. You know, I don't think it's gonna get as good as this.
but
You're
that's
like, I peaked.
well,
yeah, I peaked early.
but that's a healthy sense of like bizarre criticism and cynicism in a way to know that appreciate what's happening right now.
Completely.
And so it's great that you're doing that because so many other people don't do that. They
Yeah.
just assume that
Sop
things
up
are
the
going to keep
experience.
going.
Yeah, Chris Rock has a quote that's here today, gone today. And
Yeah.
I fucking firmly believe in that. That is
Yeah.
my mantra.
So if there's a dream project that you could do in the future, what would it be?
I think a dream project. There's a dream project that I would have that I'm making.
Yeah.
And then there's a dream project that I would want to be a part of.
Okay.
If they made a movie like The Other Guys.
Okay.
But
I loved that movie.
That is one of my. You
Yeah.
kind of like lags like toward the second or third act, but that's one of my favorite movies. That movie makes me laugh like no other movie.
It's really
Yeah.
funny.
I would love to be in just that kind of comedy.
Yeah.
I would love to be a comedic lead, and I actually think I could do a really physical comedy, like in a Jim Carrey world.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That would be a goal. And then my other big life goal is just to finally start producing and making this horror movie that I'm writing.
Yeah, you said you originally wanted to get into horror. Like, has
Yeah.
that been something since you were younger? You went to school for journalism?
Yeah, I mean the decision to go into entertainment or film and television that didn't come till later, but my love of horror movies has been very real ever since I was very young. Like
Yeah.
while other kids were watching like The Little Mermaid, I was watching The Little Mermaid and I was watching Hellraiser.
They-
I watched
it's a
horror movies at a
healthy
really
balance.
early age. Yeah. Totally gave me PTSD, but yeah.
Yeah, you have a healthy sense of cynicism and the fact that you could get gruesomely murdered at any time in your life.
Yes. And if you're obsessed with serial killers, you know that you could be a target.
Oh God.
Grace
yeah.
is definitely obsessed with serial killers.
Just
man.
I've been watching so much like true crime and cult documentaries that just like kept me awake at night. Yeah, which is really fun. Like constant level of anxiety to just have swirling in your body all the time.
Why do we choose to fall asleep to those things?
I don't know, because you're fascinated by the fact that you could be kidnapped or murdered at any time, and then you find these stories of people actually having that happen.
But
And-
now, do you have a thing where, like, the past couple years, I'm like, all right, who do I know is a sociopath?
Yes.
Who do I know is a psychopath?
Yeah.
Who's really superficially charming? Who, like, I always try to
these
figure out.
categorized, yeah, you
Yep.
find out that people seem a little bit different than you originally thought
Why are
they
you
were.
all looking at me?
Yeah, sorry, Jack.
It's weird.
Sorry, Jack. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we have a bunch of Twitter questions for you.
Oh,
so we'll
cool.
be right back with more Daniella Pineda on Not Too Deep.
Not too deep.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by our good buddies at Casper.
We've talked about them all the time. I have a Casper mattress. I absolutely love it. Jack is coming in hot with a brand new Casper personal experience.
That's right. I got myself a Casper mattress.
Oh my God.
Wanted to upgrade from a queen bed to a California king.
Treat yourself.
So
That's
I
what
did-
I have.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's fantastic.
So I decided to get because there's 3 lines you can choose from. There's the original Casper, which is a classic.
Yep.
And then there's this new streamlined essential. And I got the Casper Wave.
The innovative wave?
Yes. It's incredible. It's
Okay.
maybe one of the most comfortable beds I've ever laid on. I'm super happy with it. I used my own offer code to buy it.
Hey, not above that.
And and the reason I was feeling good about it, I was feeling like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to like this or not because I've never slept on a Casper before. I was reminded that, of course, there is a 100-night risk-free sleep on it trial.
That's so nuts. And my favorite thing about my Casper mattress is that they're created to regulate your body temperature throughout the night. So I'm one of
Yes.
those people that kick off the covers if I get too hot. I don't sleep with socks on, that whole scenario. And this has been such a body cooling, temperature regulating mattress. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I thought, it was going to be hot and I was going to sink into it, and it's none of those things. Mm-hmm. It's just very supportive.
And if weirdly after 100 nights, for some reason or another, you decide that you are not satisfied, returns are hassle free.
Yeah, and for a limited time, visit casper.com/savings and you can save up to $225 off your order. Now, this is a limited time only.
$225.
Yeah, that's a decent amount of money. This special offer expires on July 9th, 2018, and terms and conditions do apply. But go to casper.com/savings to save up to $225 off your order, valid until July 9th.
We're back with Daniella Pineda. And before we get into some Twitter questions, I'm going to ask you the 2 questions I ask every guest that is on the podcast. Ooh. And the first is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at?
Throw cold spaghetti at Stalin.
Yes, ma'am. Stalin. Oh, wow. Immediate
answer.
answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a dick.
Right. Not a good guy.
No.
All right. Well, no more follow up to that.
Yeah, Hitler gets all the ink, but Stalin was an asshole too.
He gets cold spaghetti.
And the other thing I ask every guest is to tell us their worst pants shitting story, but you can, or close call, but you can only use 3 words or 3 small phrases. So mine is college jogging front lawn.
Okay, wait, but see, you have front lawn.
Yeah, so
I
you
have
can
a
use-
word like that.
You
That
can, you
works.
can use a mix of small
Okay,
phrases
I
or
got
just
it.
3 single words.
I got it. Vancouver hot yoga prunes.
Oh
No.
brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Wow. Oh, God. But leave it all in Canada. Don't bring it back. The one thing I did want to ask before we get into Twitter questions, what is it like? You're doing a lot of acting against CGI.
Yeah.
So you're doing a lot of like pretend on top of pretend, which is already acting, right?
Yeah.
So like, what is that like?
It's not as hard as people may think. I do remember, however, like one of my favorite movies of all time is Contact with Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
That's like that may be a reason why I like went into the business.
Sure.
And her entire performance in that, like, you know, inside that
The orb.
ball orb
Yeah.
was CGI. I could see how that could be hard, but you know, when it comes to being surprised or having a reaction or feeling sad, you know, a lot of times JA would he would do what Kubrick used to do, which is he would, over the loudspeakers, he would play a song, usually a you know, something scored or something
Sure.
from a motion picture, you know, one of those soundtracks. And he would play that to give us a sense of what he wanted and the tone, which
Oh,
would be really
interesting.
helpful.
That's interesting.
And usually in our movies or in this movie, when we are acting to something like that, it's usually quiet.
Right.
So he can play music. It's not like a lot of talking.
Sure.
You know, usually
so it's
you're
playing-
running from a dinosaur or you're staring at a dinosaur.
Right.
So-
You're reacting.
So it's
Yeah.
playing while they're
while the
filming.
scene's happening.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. And, so that was really helpful. And then the other thing too is that like we worked on, I worked with the animatronic Blue, and that was the craziest thing that I've ever seen
Yeah.
in my life.
What is that in real life? That's literally
It's this thing that costs like, I don't know how many Bentleys to make.
sure. So you
I
don't
mean, it was crazy.
don't spill your wine on it. Basically.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Or someone will at Universal will
Yeah.
have you. Its eyes would dilate if you put a flashlight into it.
Cool.
The eyes would dilate. They'd blink. The eyes would move around.
Cool.
It had
That freak-
pulsing veins. It would sweat.
What?
If you, dude, it's crazy.
This is like AI, yeah.
No, it's literally an AI.
Which is one of my biggest fears against getting murdered and kidnapped. AI, it's going to kill us
Wait,
all.
also, okay, I can't believe I'm saying this
Go
on
ahead.
the air, but this really weird thing
we're not on the
happened
air.
to
Don't
me.
worry, we're editing.
Oh, right. Okay. This really weird thing happened to me. I don't know how to fucking describe this. I was on a plane and I was sitting next to a woman. I'm going to sound like a crazy person. but
No,
whatever.
not here. Not here.
I was sitting next to a woman and I was having a conversation with her the entire time because I kept looking into her eye. Okay, this is going to sound fucking nuts.
I cannot wait.
You know when you look at a cat and it's the behind the pupil, it's reflective? Okay. This one woman's right eye was blinking a red light.
No. I
swear.
What?
On my life. I text Andre. I was like, there's some fucking woman
No.
sitting next to me. And I'm crazy. There's no light reflecting. Their windows
No.
aren't open. And I see this blinking thing in her pupil.
No.
What?
No.
Grace does
It
not
sounds
like this.
so batshit crazy.
No, it doesn't sound crazy because I believe that they probably are slowly putting these AI robots into like humanity, testing them out.
Seriously.
I just started season 2 of Westworld. I don't need this shit in my life right now. I can't
Chemtrails.
handle it.
Chem-
really
Chemtrails.
fucking weird. But anyway,
Wow, that
So
is-
you have
that
a
is
dog.
weird.
Let's talk about your dog.
and the fucking UFOs are coming together.
Oh, that's a variety. But so this giant like animatronic dinosaur.
So this thing was so real that it was like an AI, and there were about 12 puppeteers underneath it who
Wow.
were working.
Right.
You know, and what was cool about it was, you know, the benefit. I'm usually kind of not anti CGI,
Sure.
but
when it's bad CGI and you can tell it's like
yeah, Andre says like if it's used to enhance.
right, because sometimes it'll take you out of the
Yeah.
action that's
Yeah.
happening if you
Yeah.
know the
If it's enhancing something that's already there, then it's really, really cool. Like I loved the fox in Antichrist that says "Chaos Reigns."
Oh, I
that
don't
thing was
know.
CGI and it looked so real. Like if it's used a certain way, it's great. But
Sure.
but I don't prefer it. I prefer working with an animatronic because an animatronic, you can react to what it's doing. You can work with the puppeteers and say, hey, I'm going to do this thing at this time.
Right.
And then, have her respond to that. It's so much more fun than, working
Well, it's
against a tennis
authentic.
ball.
You're having authentic reactions to this
Completely.
thing that's in front of your face
Yeah.
rather than like, yeah, here's a tennis ball, pretend it's scary.
Yeah.
And we're going to take 7 takes of it.
Yeah.
But there was still that too, right?
Oh yeah. There was this scene where I'm looking up at the Brachiosaurus. I remember they're like, okay, Danielle, it's really emotional. They played the theme song to the movie Ghosts, which is also like one of my favorite movies, so like help me cry. But in the moment, there was a PA.
Sorry, I don't know. There's something really funny about that to me. I'm sorry. Everyone has a method, but that's really great.
That makes me cry.
That's
I think it's
great.
because it's like my childhood. Like,
Oh yeah, I listen to the one Bon Iver song and I go fucking nuts.
nuts.
So,
yeah.
I get it.
Bon Iver. I mean, that's
Yeah.
meant to make
That's
you cry.
meant for crying. Yeah.
But it was like this little, I remember this like little cute round like PA who's like holding this pole with a stick, and he's just like, he has like a little earpiece, and he's just sort of like doing like little steps across the way, and then someone in the background, like someone in production, was just singing like dee 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 dee, and I was like, this is not helping me at all. I'm supposed to be crying in the scene.
You're like, this is my job.
Yeah,
I'm a professional.
so weird.
Here
Did
we
you get
go.
there?
I got there. I did. But at that moment, I was like,
Did it make the cut?
yeah.
That's good. It wasn't removed for time. That's good.
Phew. One other thing, you play a paleo veterinarian, right?
Yeah.
That's the job. Did you do any like actual research on dinosaurs before
Yeah,
this?
I worked with two different vets, one of them being my vet for my dogs in New York City.
Yeah.
But the other one who I worked extensively with was a guy named Jonathan, who worked with African reptilian wildlife.
Whoa.
And he taught me how to, talk to me about reptile skin. I did all this background research. They actually have some of the best immune systems. Their immune systems are ancient.
Whoa.
So that's why they can like live in mud and live with bacteria and crazy crap. Like
Wow.
you want to have alligator immune system.
Yeah, here's hoping.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
But no, that's super cool. Now you have
Yeah.
all this knowledge that you're like, what do I
What
do
do I do with it?
Start a blog. Get a blog going.
Get that reptilian immune system blog going.
Okay, here are some Twitter questions for you. This is from Pan Peter Quill. He wants to know, if you could be any superhero, who would you be? Or, I mean, you can choose, I'm going to extend this. You can choose either a superhero that is pre-existing, or if you could create your own superhero, if that's...
With your own superpower.
Oh, fuck. If I could be any superhero... Oh, this is really hard. Wait, hang on. I'll get there.
There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. I guess if I could have a lightweight superpower, I would pick okay. You know when you have a conversation with somebody and then afterwards you think about what you should have said? I wish I just said it in the moment. I had that power. Like I always said the thing that had the button. It was like, walk away.
So be like Captain Witty.
Yeah. I want to be Captain Witty.
Oh, or if you could like retroactively like edit your conversations that you had with someone
that's
as a
good.
superpower.
That's
either
so
like
cool.
add or delete.
Yeah, I would do that.
That would be really fun.
Or be invisible.
Or invisible, yeah. Let's see. Jenny May wants to know, what was it like being a witch?
Oh, it was really, being a witch was fun.
Yeah.
I remember I watched The Craft a bunch during
Did you?
that time.
That's your research.
Yeah, that was my research. That was my hard
research.
research.
Yeah.
Just watching The Craft. But I didn't get to be a witch for very long.
Yeah.
Because they killed me off that show.
Yeah. How many episodes were you on?
6.
6? I mean,
Yeah.
But what was how does that compare to
But
now?
I definitely see myself more as a witch than I do like a vampire or like a werewolf.
Oh, okay. You
Or
just
a paleo.
veterinarian.
Well, no,
Veterinarian.
paleo veterinarian comes first.
Okay,
Because
got
it's
it.
happening now.
I was going to say, you just polarized our entire audience by choosing one over the other. Someone, 90s Forever, wants to know, were you ever really scared of dinosaurs?
Oh, I think when I was a kid and I saw Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Yes.
That movie is legitimately scary.
It's legit
That was
scary.
The first movie I ever saw like gave me nightmares. I didn't even finish it. I couldn't sleep at night. I thought there was a T-Rex outside of my bedroom window.
That T-Rex scene
Raptors scared
is
the
so-
shit out of me.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're
More
so
than the
scary.
T-Rex, raptors.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think, being a kid and when they tap the fingernail, that was a
Yeah.
signal to me like, oh, this thing is so intelligent.
It's too
which makes it
human.
even more scary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like AI, the woman on the plane with the red blinking dot in her
Doesn't
eye.
make any sense.
She's a huge fan of our podcast, so she'll write in and let us know if
Yes,
she's
the
actually
old lady Terminator.
Did you keep her contact information? I really want to know
Also,
more
the other
about
weird
this.
thing was she just kept talking about how She kept talking
How,
about
like, human flesh
how
tastes?
gays were going to go to hell.
Oh no!
But she loves gay people, but it is their sin. This is what she told me. And then I said, oh shit. And I was like talking to her about how, well, I don't think they are, which probably makes me a sinner. I was like, I guess I'm going to go to hell. And she was like, don't say that. And I was like, well, I'll be the coolest person in hell. And she was like, don't you say that. It was weird. She was like really nice, but she was saying these really bigoted things. But people are from a different time.
Yeah, she's a cyborg, so
Yeah.
she has cyborg morality.
Yeah, God. Not to be confused with Cyborg, the greatest UFC
Yes.
fighter of all time.
This is
true.
They're two different things.
That one was crazy.
Now I'm bad at eye contact with like strangers, but I'm going to be looking directly into the eyeballs of everyone I sit next
I
to
know,
on a
I
plane
really
now.
wanna know now.
Just to double
Look
check.
for that blinking light.
90 times wants to know
All
last
these 90s.
all these 90s, yeah. Last really good advice you got.
From Jeff Goldblum.
Specifically, follow up.
Last really. Oh, well, it's something that I've been told all my life, but I haven't heard it in a while.
Sure.
So I was raised by different aunts and uncles. Like I say, I have 2 aunts and uncles, so I have 4 parents instead of 2. And my Uncle Arnold and my Aunt Celeste, who are like my mom and dad, who are up in Oakland, where I'm from, they came down last night. And, at the end of the night, they were, they came to the premiere and they were like, we were so proud of you. And my Uncle Arnold was like, he's like, get to the front of the line, girl. Get to the front of the line. She's like, show off that dress and get to the front. And I was like, yeah, okay. That's pretty much been an ongoing theme, but it was a reminder of like, yeah, I deserve to be here.
That's
I'm gonna
great.
Get to the front of the line.
That's a wonderful reinforcement of confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. To believe in yourself.
Yeah, dude, that was the 2 things: is don't take shit and get to the front of the line.
That's awesome. Well, so you're West Coast raised, but now you live East Coast.
Yeah, I've been in New York for a while now.
What are your pros and cons on either coast?
Pros and cons. I think there's a relaxation that is just not in New York City
Absolutely.
that I crave and
Yeah.
that I want from time to time. But there's also just such when the weather is good in New York City, that is
the
my
best.
favorite place in the world. When it's like just hitting summertime.
Yeah.
And
Those
I'm
4
being-
days are wonderful.
I know.
They're
Andre
so
was just telling us how he
romantic.
missed them completely. The last job he
Yeah,
had.
It was like that's a way for you to sort of be intimate with the city in a way that you can't most of the year.
It also, I feel like, softens everyone that's usually terrible in New York.
Oh yeah, that's a funny thing too. Like when the weather is good, New Yorkers are just they turn into Midwesterners.
It's like they all took Molly for the day and they're just having the best day ever. And you're like, what happened to everyone? Everyone's nice now.
Yeah.
This is nuts. That's like, Jack and I met in New York and then moved out here to Los Angeles and have been here for like 5 or 6 years. And that's the one time of year that I'm like, New York is beautiful. And anytime I go back and visit, other than that, in the winter especially, I'm immediately reminded like, oh no, it sucks here. Everyone hates each other. Everyone's
Yeah.
fighting for space. And that man's shitting on a wall. Great. Okay.
Oh, there's a rat eating a pizza.
Yeah.
that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Let's put that on the internet.
It's the food chain. That's how the food chain works. Okay, someone wants to know, Cornick 303, would you rather be ambidextrous or double jointed?
I am ambidextrous.
Really?
Yeah, I eat with my left hand, and I write with my right hand.
What do you throw with?
My right hand.
Okay, so you're right-handed, but you're just really good with your left hand, then.
Yeah, maybe I'm not ambidextrous.
But I mean, could you throw with your left hand?
What's the
Ambidextrous
Yeah.
is just like
You
being,
could.
yeah.
Oh, then you are ambidextrous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought ambidextrous is just being able to write with both hands.
I think it's ambidextrous is you don't have. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was you don't
I mean,
have.
some
You don't
people
have a
say they
dominant
write with the
side.
right hand, and their
Right.
handwriting is fucking shit.
Right.
So,
Can you write with the other hand? Your left hand?
yes.
But all we do is text. When is anyone writing anything down with
Good
a...
point.
Sad. They
Grace.
don't teach cursive in school anymore.
Really?
What? How do you sign
It's a lost
contracts?
I know. How do you develop your signature?
Your business brain,
all-
that's the
What
first
would be
thing.
the plus
It's all-
of being double jointed?
What is double jointed? Just means
Unless
you
I'm
can
like a
bend.
weird contortionist
Oh, Melissa
porn
can
star.
do it.
Wait, what?
Double joint. Oh. You guys can't see this on a podcast, but her fingers just did something crazy.
It
Gross.
did something like from The Ring.
Yeah, this is a scene from The
Gross.
Crown.
Stop.
Okay,
Delete.
definitely ambidextrous. Because if you lose your right arm, you still got that left.
True. That is very true.
That was so creepy.
Oh, I have a question for you because you are like dialed in terms of social media and you use it, I think, really hilariously and authentically. Is there one social media platform that you love above others? And is there one that if you could delete from the digital space in general?
I would delete Snapchat from the digital space.
Yeah.
Before Facebook.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Thank
You know
you.
what? Facebook isn't even in my mind anymore.
I
Same.
know.
I don't use
Ditto.
it at
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's just a place for old people to yell at each other.
Oh, it's a really good point.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it
As
is.
soon as my grandpa got on Facebook, end scene. That's a
Wait,
wrap. It's like, I don't need to be on this anymore.
wait, is your grandfather actually on Facebook?
Yeah, he is, and I am not on Facebook.
I mean, God bless, him for figuring that out.
I guess it helps him practice.
Also, I did have a question that your Twitter bio says ghetto punk princess.
Yeah.
Explain that to us.
Okay, so I like to think of my upbringing as like a hybrid of like, you know, because my family's from East Oakland.
Right.
Actually, my family is from pretty much the exact same area where Ryan Coogler is from. Ryan Coogler, who made Black Panther.
Okay.
The director and did Fruitvale Station, who and I didn't know him personally, but like I met Oscar Grant, who because he used to work at the butcher counter at Farmer Joe's. So
Not Trader Joe's.
not
Farmer
Trader Joe's, Farmer Joe's, yeah.
Okay. Step Brothers.
So I have this really, you know, I have like that part of my life, but then also I felt like when I got into like high school, I felt more like a punk.
Sure.
I just feel like I'm a legit hybrid of the two worlds.
And a princess.
And I'm a princess.
Of course.
Obviously.
I mean, so it speaks for itself, basically.
Yeah.
Is
I had a conversation with someone and they were talking about how mumble rap is very much like English punk. It's like not very talented musicians
Right.
who have this cool thing to say and this following, and they kind of represent the counterculture of their time. I was like, that's really cool.
I've never even heard
totally
of
cool.
mumble rap.
Yeah. Isn't 21 Savage like mumble rap? Yeah.
yeah, it's no Busta Rhymes.
No.
Remember those days? No Busta Rhymes. That's my Twitter bio is I'm no Busta Rhymes. I'm trying. Daniella, we've reached the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. But before you go, we give each guest a personalized fortune cookie.
Oh my God.
Just for them.
Oh my God.
So
do you make this?
well,
Sort
we
of.
steamed it open and put in a fortune just for you.
Wow. This is so cool. One time I accidentally made fortune cookies.
I don't know how that's
How is that
possible.
possible?
I don't know. Okay, I'm so excited. All right, I'm opening it. I'm opening
Okay.
it. I'm unfolding it. It's very long.
Yeah.
It's like in Beetlejuice when they pull out the number. Okay, it says, it will be revealed that at the Real Middle Finger Instagram has been run by Jeff Goldblum this whole time. Oh, my mind would be.
Could you imagine?
I would literally reach like the whatever, the stratosphere.
You feel-
Like
you-
I would turn into just electrons.
Yeah, you just shoot straight up to Nirvana and never come back.
that would be
universe
it.
brain.
Yeah. No, totally.
Well, Danielle, thank you so much for being here and
Thank
taking
you.
the time in the middle of this insane press tour that you're on right now. Where can people find you on social media if they want to follow all the shenanigans and everything that's going on with you?
If you want to follow the shenanigans and you want to have a good time, the party is at not Daniella Pineda. And on Twitter, it's at Maniella, which is my name, Daniella, but with an M.
Okay.
Because that's what my friend growing up used to call me. They're telling me to change that, but I'm not going to fucking change that.
Stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
And that small movie, Jurassic
Oh,
World.
yeah. And there's some movie called Jurassic World 2 Fallen Kingdom that comes out June 22nd.
That you can go check out, I guess, if you want. But
you
make
should
sure
bring all your friends.
Yeah, and check her out because you're genuinely so funny and so fun to follow online. That sounds like the creepiest stalker thing to say.
No,
but
it makes me really happy, actually. I'm very flattered.
you got it. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you guys next time on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye. Whoop.
Too deep, too deep, too deep. Not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated.
Produced and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer Melissa D. Mons.
With writing by Diane Kang. Audio support by Chris Henry.
Editing by Melissa D. Mons.
And an extra special thank you to Flula for the theme music.